Lasciavo prossimi! This is an ongoing series about quick tools and creativity. I'm going to create a series of sketches both to increase my understanding of the Quicktools suite, also to stimulate my own creativity and hopefully yours too. Voi gotovi? Today's sketch is again going to be plant-based. This time I'm going to be making a cactus. I really love the grooves, the ridges in the classic cowboy saguaro type cactus. And I thought making one of these would be a really great way to show off Quick Curve's custom brushes feature. We need to be in front view for this to make sense. By default, a lot of Blender's tools are meant to be set up in front view. Now, custom brushes ensure you just make an object, select it, and then in Quick Curve, just tap J and away you go. You just start drawing with that object that you just made. Add a monkey here. Now, by default, Quick Curves arrays the custom object along the stroke, along the brush stroke. If I just draw one here, as you can see, it's rotated the object through 90 degrees. In front view like this, if I draw along the positive x-axis, that's from left to right, you see we're looking at the tops of the monkey's heads along that stroke there. Quick Curve is looking at our custom object down the z-axis, looking at the top and presenting that view to us along the strokes that we draw. If I don't like that, then I'm going to have to edit the brush itself, the object itself. First, I'll clear the custom brush from Quick Curve with the shortcut K. Now grab that object and in edit mode, I'm going to reorient the monkey through 90 degrees, perhaps negative 90 degrees. Now back in Quick Curve, J again to select it as a brush. And now when I draw, you see the monkey faces us. But watch what happens when I draw the opposite way, when I draw from right to left. I flipped the drawing direction, and so now the monkeys are flipped. And the same is going to apply if I draw vertical strokes. You see, I'm turning the drawing axis through 90 degrees, and so the monkeys are turned through 90 degrees. Quick Curve is taking into account the X and the Z axes of my custom object. What that means is that I may need multiple custom brushes to choose from, depending on how I want to draw, what direction I'm drawing in. There are more settings for custom brushes under the Control-D Pie menu. An important one is this Deform Custom by Curve. I'll just bring in a sphere to draw onto. In Quick Curve, set alignment to on surface down at the bottom there, Control-Shift-W, the shortcut. Now, as I draw on that sphere, you can see the shapes are orienting to the direction of the brush on the surface of the sphere. Okay, I'll delete these ones. If I switch the Deform Custom by Curve off, Control-D, switch that off. Now you see the custom shape is fixed in its default orientation that we saw earlier on. So I'm going to switch that back on, Deform by Curve. We can change the spacing of custom objects, of the custom brush, Control-D, and it's this Mesh Array Offset setting. This is a slightly confusing name. I think maybe it should be called Density or something like that. If I turn the offset up to, say, 5, which you think would make a bigger offset between the objects. Now when I draw, I get this very dense effect. But if I turn that down, Control D, let's turn it down to say 0.5 and draw again. And the custom meshes now are more spaced out. Now, if the array is switched off altogether, Control D, set that offset to 0. Well, now the custom mesh is simply stretched along the curve. Cool. So now we've got everything we need to start making cacti. Let's start with a fresh scene here. Right, what I want is to be able to simply draw the shapes of the cacti and have them automatically have that ridged appearance, ridged like the saguaro cactus I was talking about. I'm going to start with a UV sphere, Shift A. Now in edit mode, I'll alt click to select some loops, hop into top view for this. Alt click alternate edge loops here. So not every edge loop. I'm going to set my pivot to be 3D cursor whilst I think about it. And also I'm going to make sure I'm in global transform mode. Right, so I'm just going to select a quarter of these edge loops. And then I'm going to S to scale, but I want to lock the Z axis. So Shift Z and then scale those in just a touch. Now back in object mode, I can symmetrize this with the quick mirror part of the Quicktools suite. Control X is a shortcut. And if I hold Shift, I can mirror in multiple directions. So I'm going to click from the side I want to mirror from. So that's the X and the Y. And then you see down at the bottom right there, Control and Enter to apply that mirror. Now remember that Quick Curve is taking into account the X and the Z axes as I'm looking from front view. If I draw with this thing now, you can see the orientation is all wrong. So I need to, again, edit the object. I need to rotate it 90 degrees about the y-axis. Now if I draw, I get something cactus-like. Notice though that the longer I make these strokes, the more stretched and so the more pointed they become. What I need to do is make a couple of different custom brushes, again, for drawing different lengths of stroke like we discussed before. This sphere is going to be okay for shorter branches, say, and I can just duplicate it and make a more of a sausage shape from it for longer things, like maybe the main trunk of a cactus. So I'm going to split it in the middle with a little bevel and move these over here and give this middle section a few extra loop cuts so that Quick Curve has some geometry to work with. Also, if I flatten these ends a touch with proportional editing, then when this shape is stretched, the ends aren't going to be able to come to so much of a point. So easy to switch brushes depending on what I want to draw. Just K to clear, select a brush, tap J, again clear, tap J to select a different brush. So fun. And that's really the point. Art's supposed to be enjoyable, right? And once you start to know your way around Quicktools, because it makes things quick and easy to do, it really helps to keep 3D fun, keeps it spontaneous. And as I said last time, it keeps your ideas flowing much faster and even gives you some ideas. Okay, thanks for watching again. And for now, do zustrici.
3D from Zero makes tutorials and quick tips about 3D software. If you're into 3D or you'd like to be, check out my free course on 3dfromzero.com, and there are some paid courses there too. Thanks for watching.